Oh, I see. Yeah, in the chair. All right. Are we good, Matt? Excellent. We'll open the public portion of the meeting with the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So our first agenda item is to accept the CSE, CPSE reports. I mean, can you do that and then we'll talk about them later?
Yes.
Right? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see your look.
You're like, what?
I'll move.
Thanks,
I'm
Ray.
gonna do that.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Brent. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Minutes of our last regular meeting, 2/16. And we had a new set. Thank you, Kat.
Yes, thank you.
I guess I want to make sure I'm not crazy on the adjournment. The first one's at 9:56. We weren't here till 10. Okay, good. Yeah. I had to change it to 8:56.
I think the clock changed during the meeting.
Oh, the clock changed. Okay. I feel like I remember that.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Thanks, Nate.
I'll second it.
Thanks, Josh. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Is anybody missing last meeting?
I was online, but I didn't.
Okay, so hopeful. That's
Would abstain or?
Oh, why don't I abstain? Because I have trouble hearing.
And treasurer's reports and appropriation transfers. Which have to be separate.
Yes, please.
Yes. So is there a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
So moved.
Thanks, Hope. Thanks, Kate. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Uh-oh. We have to pass the same way or else we'll get to the mess at the end.
Guess
I
what?
can put my stuff over here.
I bet you're missing. You're gonna find some of my stuff.
Okay, well,
It'll be all right.
sort it out.
I'll keep it a secret.
Sorry about that. Appropriation transfers.
Here, to accept.
Thank you, Ray. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Nate. All those in favor?
Hi.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And warrants. First up, general fund 31. There was some, page 4, there was some Coughlin and Gerhardt expense. I have to ask that.
Yeah, is it the secret? How much is it? Yeah, so that they put together the secret
Got it.
resolutions for us.
Thanks. And then there was one to Highland. Are we still obliged to them?
It's one I questioned too, but yeah, they hadn't built us, the last part for the,
Conditions.
conditions assessment that we just talked about. So that
Okay.
should be defined. Chris can tell you, I really didn't want to pay it. I had to now.
And then if there are people still looking through. And the next one is federal funds 11. And then school lunch fund 9.
Sorry, on 11, page 2, I'm sorry, I just noticed this. We have something categorized for the school lunch fund on page 2 of 11.
So you're on federal.
Yeah,
It's federal, it's, let's see.
yeah, page 2, sorry, line 4475.
Do you know money? I don't know, I would have to look at.
Yeah, so we'll look it up.
Okay, yes, sorry, I would have sent it earlier.
No, that's
but
okay.
I'm sorry.
As long as you don't mind getting a reply email to you all.
No, that's fine. Thank you.
No, that's the one below it. It's, UPK snacks. It's the one below it, right? The pre-K materials and supplies paid the school lunch fund for snacks.
And that's okay out of the
Yep.
federal fund, okay.
Yeah, it comes from the UPK grant.
Okay, yeah, I just didn't understand that. but Thank you.
Maybe some next time.
Yeah, no.
No.
Get my cookie cookies?
Yeah. So then school lunch fund number 9. Very short. And then capital fund number 8. Well, those are just prints. Those are just prints of the bid. Lots more to come there. All right, is there a motion to approve all 4 warrants?
So,
Oh, thanks.
what the heck?
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Ray. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Excellent. Recognition of visitors.
Hi, Jess. Hi. Here with the Candor PTA. We're busy as usual.
How'd you make out on November day?
Well, that was the junior and senior class did that.
Oh, I thought it was
So
the
that wasn't us, but
Still a good cause.
It was a good cause. It was wonderful.
I went. It was nice. Yeah, we do have some upcoming fundraisers. We're doing a cheesecake fundraiser right now. So find your favorite elementary school student if you'd like to place an order. We're gonna do Doug's Fish Fry next month. We've got a date set for that. And we're trying something new. Some people had an idea to do a musical bingo. We're doing that one night at Punk's, so we'll be advertising that soon. So
What does that mean?
so it's they play a song and you have to figure out what the song is and then you mark it off on your bingo sheet.
So it's like name that tune, hybridized with
From
bingo.
what generation?
I think we're gonna do 90s for the first one and then we'll switch it up, but 90s.
You need like a big band.
Can we do a senior citizen event?
You're targeting
You can be on my team.
all the moms.
Okay.
That's okay, like we have like
I got the 90s.
the parents of the 90s.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well done.
Oh, my God.
And what's the date on that?
It is I should have this on here. It's like the 29th, it's a Wednesday, yeah, Wednesday, March 29th, from 6 to 8
Oh,
at
pretty
Punks.
soon.
Yeah, yeah.
And maybe when's Doug's fish fry?
That one is April 6th. And we're gonna be doing a bake sale with that, so if anyone likes to bake and wants to donate baked goods, we'll be putting out an ad for those.
Are you gonna do it right in the
We're gonna
elementary?
do out front where they did the last one, because
Okay.
that worked really well out front, so, yeah, we've got that space reserved. But on top of just fundraisers, we are having some events planned. We're hoping to get something for the end of March. We've got it almost set. We're gonna get Dan the Snake Man to come in for the elementary school students and do some stuff for them. So that's not quite scheduled yet, but we're hoping that's at the end of the month. We're working on a career night for the high school students. We don't have a date set for that, but that'll be sometime this spring before the school year's over. There's a lot of great ideas that's coming together. Then we're looking at doing like a junior high dance, kind of like instead of, since they can't do prom, like a little dance for the younger high school kids. So, oh, and a movie night. I think we have an outdoor movie night. We're gonna try to line up for when the warm weather comes in June. So, lots of stuff going on. And always open ideas too from everybody.
Is career night with local employers, or is it just introducing them to different?
I think it's gonna be a bit of both. There's a lot of ideas and there's someone else who's kind of running it, because I think she's gonna be kind of like reaching out to different people, because I think, like Home Central had done something a few years ago, someone said, so something like, what trades, and then bringing in actually some maybe Cornell professors, so, and Cornell students, so things from, like kind of different career options to kind of what jobs are out there, and talking to students about what college is like, so kind of having like some booths set up and the kids can kind of walk through and talk with different people. It's kind of the plan. Yeah.
Did they just recently have one here? A grandson came home and said he'd done a career thing. I just,
I don't think so.
He's a senior.
Yeah.
Okay.
He might have been talking with the guidance department, that they moved.
Oh, there was somebody from Arnott Ogden and a bunch of colleges and stuff.
From the foundation, that would have been.
Okay.
The college fair, right? Then they have people from outside of just academic institutions as well.
They come
Right.
in
Yeah.
like on different days,
Yeah,
so it's
yeah,
usually
yeah,
not
I
all
think
at
that's
one
what
time.
I think
They
that's
called
what
it
that-
the
There might have been a few of them in the same
Yeah,
day.
yeah,
That would have been through guidance department.
You could invite some of your local community colleges to that, probably charge them a table fee.
Oh.
You're not recording this, are you? So I know from my admissions background that a lot of community colleges would come to a career event like that. And I know that TC3 in the past, they've got they call it college.biz, but they have a lot of presentations on that kind of stuff. It might be worth getting connected with them. They might have some people that come down as well.
Okay,
Uh,
that's great.
I was just actually asking Kate for your
I
email.
tried.
But
Do you want it through the PTS? Does PTSA have their own email? Or,
Well, we're working on that, because we had one, but only one person could access it. We couldn't get everyone to access it, so a little technical glitch there. So right now, yeah, you can just use mine.
or the Remind app?
Or the Remind app is a great way that goes to all of us, so, yeah, that's good. And then I know she was reaching out to, the guidance counselor here, and she was gonna, talk with him about suggestions that he had too, so. But yeah, I'll pass this on, this is good.
you could charge those admissions people like 25 or 30 bucks a table, and you make $100 easy.
That's,
Just
wow,
saying.
that's fine, I will,
Just saying.
So,
Well,
Wait.
the problem is you gotta guarantee flow. If you only have 25 students, they
Yeah.
won't come back if it's an expensive table. But if you get a lot of people, then you could say next year it'll be $50.
your main revenue stream all the time. How do you get all these dates and all this information out there? Because the Remind comes through, but that only,
yeah, right now it's pretty much, Remind and Facebook have been our two modes of communication.
I have them on the sign out front and on the website.
Yeah, and she, yeah.
are they rotating out there? Okay.
Month by month, we go through.
But I know with some of the things coming up, like I'm gonna try to put posters at like the post office and some places around town too. But yeah, if you have suggestions, I know that's some place we would probably improve is with communication.
Yeah, I mean, all those channels are the ones I would think of, you know, so. Thanks for all your work. So considerations, we have none, so we're on to the consent agenda. Fresh copy today. Are there any items on the consent agenda that should be brought up for separate consideration? Hearing none, are there any questions on any of the items? Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Thanks, Nate. Is there a second? Thanks, Brent. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Excellent. And then reports from administrators, so we will, short staff tonight.
Yeah, as I mentioned, when we were at a conference and working to get back, and Holly's checking on the sports practices. But we did invite Mrs. Loomis to join us today. If you wouldn't mind starting with her,
I
to give
would
us
love to.
give the board an update on summer school.
I have to excuse myself.
Okay, okay.
Thanks, Brent.
Okay, so we have Summer Academy happening again this summer. Summer school rebranded as Summer Academy. It's open for students currently in grades pre-K to 8th, so incoming kindergartners and independent graders. We're doing 4 weeks this year instead of 6. We've extended the school day from 4 hours to 6 hours, Monday through Thursday. And we're gonna start at 8:30 in the morning. We'll be done by 2:30 in the afternoon. Transportation will be provided again this year. Breakfast and lunch will be provided again this year. There's more details to come, but registration opens on the 20th and it's gonna be open until June 1st. It'll be on the website. It'll use all of the things that PTSA also uses. And I'm gonna write up a quick blurb for teachers to put in their weekly newsletters to go home. So hopefully every parent will get the link, whether they're on the website or not. And we're excited.
And if I can, maybe you want to talk more about it too. The change, I really was proud of last year's program. I thought it ran really well. The teachers were great. The students were great. And parents were great. I mentioned that in the budget report that they drove and really helped out a lot. The changes were based on feedback and data that Sarah's collected since last year. Had it been left up just to me, I would have said, let's do a repeat. But that's not what the data told us, and that's not what the feedback from parents told us. So that's kind of where the changes came from. Some of the data they looked at were attendance, and we saw that after the 4th week, attendance dropped right off, and we heard from parents that, well, there are sports programs, and if they know ahead of time, they can plan around it, but I don't know if there's more you want to add about that.
I guess I would say, although it's a shorter, there's 4 weeks instead of 6 weeks, extending that day, the hours are exactly the same as they were last year. So it'll still be,
So learn-
Do you know your 4 weeks yet, when your start end dates are?
July 10th is our first week and the last day would be August 3rd. So it'll be 4 consecutive weeks. Registration, this time around, we said we would really prefer children to be there for the duration, but weekly registration is absolutely positively fine too.
And then presentation.
Oh, and we're going to try the high school this year for all of the kids,
They will be so excited.
right?
You've
Yeah.
seen,
Stairs.
Yeah.
And well, the big thing, the AC.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Is that
extend the
why?
day, so part of the reason we were leaving early is before the day got too hot over there.
It did
And it
get
still got
very
too hot.
warm.
So is there a recess where then you are walking back over to playgrounds?
Yep.
Okay.
So with an extended day, we're able to do, last year we did rec and enrichment. We're able to keep those types of things in there, but have a little bit more academic time as well. Yeah.
It's the same format as last year with you're going up a grade level, introducing to the.
And with that extended time, we're hoping to also be able to provide a more structured intervention period as well for specific support as needed, as long as we get staff and teachers ready to come back to school for a little bit.
and you won't know how many teachers you really need until after signups, at least the good chunk of signups,
Yeah,
right?
we're gonna actually kind of run the posting at the same time as registration and kind of go from there to see. Because every person that says they're interested doesn't necessarily need to. And 4 weeks, some teachers might not want to be there for 4 weeks. Some teachers might want to be there for 2 weeks, so.
So you do mix and match.
Yeah.
You have subs that you
Last year,
kind of made it work.
yeah, well, last year when teachers couldn't make it a day, they set it up with someone.
Else.
Yeah.
So this is a super deep dive question, so if this
Okay.
isn't answerable, it's okay. I know you were wanting to look at it, were you able to tell if any of the kids who were there for summer school, who had the pre-teaching, are there numerical benefits? Were you able to tell?
So Mr. Gelder helped me figure out how to look at that, but I haven't looked at it yet.
Okay.
And I now know what I need to collect and what I need to set up at the beginning of the summer to be able to have that information at the end of the summer. So that was a learning curve,
Fair.
but we navigated it, or we are navigating it.
Anecdotally, we got a lot of positive feedback, particularly from the middle school teachers. Maybe it's because my office is right down the hall from them. But they thought there was a big bump at the start of the year because they already knew their students. The students knew them well enough to know what they expected as far as behavior. So there's that, but we'll get more information.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we go right. Let's get through a handful of. Yep, Kim, sorry, I spoke quietly.
Oh,
Kim,
I'm
you're up.
sorry.
My
Oh,
bad. I like mumbled, it's my fault.
I'm just over here looking at everybody else's reports. Okay. So for my report this month, I outlined the district priorities, as we started the year with, and also added a goal. And I remember, I don't know which meeting it was, but you asked, what will we measure, or how will we know? So those are conversations we've been having as the admin team as we look at each priority, like what are we hoping to accomplish? And then how will we know that we met it? So then the bulleted items under each priority just outline some of the activities or some of the tasks that we're taking on to be able to meet the goal. So I'm just gonna highlight a couple, and then if you guys have questions, obviously ask. Under using data to drive instructional decisions and practices, we've introduced DataWise to the entire faculty. We've received feedback. We had an advisory team come together to help us with our next steps. And tomorrow, at our conference day, Jenny Coco, who is our data coordinator, who replaced Chris, and we were fortunate enough to get her as our business official. She's created a data dashboard for us with our district numbers, and she will continue to build it. It looks similar to the state accountability website. If you go on to NICEAD.gov and it shows Candor School District and what the enrollment is, but she's able to create it. She has sections for attendance, the percentage of chronic absenteeism, and then there are portions of the table that can drill down into the individual students by building. Discipline referrals, because we do track disciplinary referrals in both buildings through School Tool. She's able to easily access that. We're using, it all started, the dashboard, the creation of it started because our afternoon session tomorrow is on the diversity, equity, and inclusion through TST BOCES with Jill Kissick-Castro. And the way that she'll present DEI for our community is who are our marginalized groups. So the data dashboard, that's where it started. It was like, Jill, can you put together, what's our enrollment by district, by buildings, gender, race and ethnicity, students with disabilities, attendance, and it just grew. She started, like that's all I thought I was going to see a week ago, and now there's this, I will say, beautiful data dashboard that I shared with the admin team last Friday. And I think the exciting part there is not only do we have our own data to help us learn how to use a process such as DataWise, but we will have data in a format for the board, for us to look at, for teams to look at, to make decisions moving forward. What are our priorities based on what we can see real time? And Jenny will continue to update that. I think she's going to try and update it every Monday. So we'll unveil it to you at some point. Maybe next board meeting, we could take a few minutes to share that out. Pete and Wayne are at the iReady Leadership Conference. They should be getting home tonight, so I'm looking forward to hear what they have to say about, ways to utilize the iReady resources that we have to better inform our decisions. And a couple of the priorities: literacy instruction, vocabulary comprehension, and core instruction and tier 1 interventions. Tomorrow, we have teacher-led presentations going on in the afternoon. So every faculty member has the choice to select 2 of 6 options. So at the elementary school, well, in both buildings, we have a session on trauma-informed instructional practices, an overview of therapeutic crisis intervention. There's, teaching the neurodivergent student and preparing classroom modifications. So those 4 are being presented in both buildings, and then building specific elementary. We have a teacher presenting on the First in Math program. Sarah and Pete are presenting on responsive classroom. In the high school, Matt is presenting on vocabulary, one of the online programs that teachers can use during the learning labs. And vocabulary with flair, presented by two of the English department teachers. So again, that hits in different spaces, what we have going on and how we're trying to highlight the priorities of the district. And MTSS, continuing the conversation, how do we continue to make it better? How do we provide that in-time support to students that need not only interventions in the gen ed classroom, but tier 2 and tier 3 in both buildings? And then the last item, maintaining a safe and supportive environment and encouraging a positive culture. Mental health team that's ongoing, but we are formalizing the meetings again with that group to identify what are our tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 core instruction and interventions for social, emotional, and behavioral. So that'll be more formal work. And we have, I think, 3 people attending the School Safety Summit, and I didn't put the exact date down. The flyer I looked at, it was, actually, it might be May 31st and June 1st, so that might be why I put May, June. So that is just an update on all of the things that we have going on to support our current priorities. Questions?
How many parents asked for the iReady information to come home? A decent amount?
How many asked for it? to
Yeah,
come
because
home?
there was a note that was like, ask for it. No.
What do you mean?
Yeah, they sent, rather than send them out, they sent a request, or they sent a home with the students to request them if you wanted to see their
Oh,
winter
you're saying a
assessments.
note came home. I thought you said, you meant someone sent a note into us telling
Oh,
us
I'm
to
sorry.
send it
No.
home. Right, Pete, I think, sent a message out
Right,
asking
that was
who
like,
would
hey, if you
want
want your
the
results.
information
So I was
versus
just curious.
just sending it.
Did a lot of people ask? Yeah.
Yeah,
a lot
I
of people
don't
asked, or
know.
no idea?
Pete would know for the elementary. And I don't believe that message went out for 7th and 8th grade. I do know that special ed teachers meet with students to go over in 7th and 8th grade, the iReady results. So each time for the diagnostic, and that is discussed during CSE meetings. Those are new reports that we can use in between that 3rd year reevaluation. So the teachers have started to use that. Parents are, I think, becoming more used to hearing it and understanding what it is.
And the students their teachers are talking to students about it. You know, they have conferences with them before they take the next diagnostic to talk about how they did in the last one, do their best, see if they can improve. And I think that's helpful to keep them engaged in the diagnostic.
And I have to share this because it was during a CSE meeting, but the way, like, coming back to using data to drive our instructional decisions and practices. We had a student last year that at their annual review, we weren't really sure what secondary, like 9-12, what the path would be. And the teacher this year was able to present diagnostic results from iReady from the last couple of years to the most current to show in one subject area, they've made 1.5 years worth of growth and the other 2 years worth of growth. But we were able to use that to help the students see you are more than capable and look at what you've been able to do in the hard work. And now we can make some good decisions on what path, should you be headed on for the future. So I don't know, it was one of those meetings that you had to leave. It was good, but it was also not just saying, well, we think, you should be able to, but not only, and the student, like, to see the smile on their face when they recognize, like, yeah, I've been putting in some hard work and I've made some improvements, so. Anyway. Just wanted to share.
Thank you. So should we backtrack to Mr. Matt?
Sorry,
No, it's okay.
They needed me for the play as a
Stand-in.
They actually, I believe they bring 3 people up on stage during the play. And so they needed somebody that didn't know anything about the play. So I got to try and spell some word that I.
Be careful where you sit.
Yeah, that's a cautionary
I
tale
know,
where you
yeah.
sit on
Yes.
Saturday or
Yeah.
Sunday.
So it was a little bit later week or month, last month with help tickets. We were a week short with the February break, but it was a little bit later, which helped me get started with some inventory devices. That process started, it'll probably be a month to try and get it in, fit that in with all the other things that I'm doing, but I'm trying to just make sure that we know where our devices are, tracking down the students that have loaned out 3 devices from the library and then have 1 assigned to them. And, I went up to him and I said, oh, what device do you have? Let me just see what you have. And he pulls it out, and Mr. Bastian was there with him. And he's like, is that my device? So it was, that he had that device as well. So trying to track down some of those students that may be,
Chromebook hoarders.
yeah, and then everybody else that really keeps track of theirs, and so it's a good process. It's something that we have not done on a regular basis. We usually do it yearly. Trying to do it a little bit more regularly just to make sure with the number of devices we have to really keep track of them, so that we know where they are. And then again, vocabulary, Kim mentioned, we'll be presenting that to teachers. The students have been able to use that in learning labs, but I'm trying to encourage teachers to use it as part of their core instruction, to look at the ability to use some technology to hit some of the tier 3 vocabulary words in a little bit different way. So it uses hip hop videos, activities, for students to just engage them with music, because often music can, some students really respond to music.
Is this like Schoolhouse Rock?
It is. It's the
Okay.
modern day version of
I mean, it
school.
worked, that worked.
Yep. And they have videos for all subjects. And,
That's great.
so it's interesting. So hopefully the students don't all get inundated next week with vocabulary and they get burned out from it, because teachers are, more teachers just all start using it because they like it. So hopefully they'll spread it out a little bit. And we're also doing training for computer-based testing, proctor training. We're fitting that in tomorrow so that we don't have to take time either before school or after school for teachers. And we have everybody in one place to do proctor training tomorrow as well. So that's moving right along.
Thanks. Chris.
All right. Well, we've had a busy month in the business office, right? Working on budget and all of those things related to that. One of those pieces, that second bullet, the second section that I have, we did some professional development planning as an administrative team. But that really started from some conversations around budget and where we were going to get the resources to do some of the internal summer professional development, and then also some of those conferences and things that people do throughout the year, and kind of looking at all of the different funding sources that we have, whether it's the grants or whether it's our general fund or TS2 BOCES, and then also taking, so glad I followed Kim, all of the district goals that have been set and priorities, and kind of taking, having the conversation and allocating those different needs for professional development, aligning those to the different goals that we've set for the district. So not only are we looking at how are we going to fund this, how much time do people have, opposite summer school and all of the other things that we do in our day, and then kind of making sure that things are lining up with what it is we want to do as a district. So, kind of a great start to that conversation, and we've scheduled some more time to continue that next week. Taylor Green, I never had last name there, and I have been working a lot on office procedures, payroll, specifically around payroll, and in relation to some of the OSC audit findings, but we should have some documentation ready for you in the next couple of months for you to have approve our procedures manual that we're building. We're also working on purchasing procedures alongside that, so we'll have some good documentation for those processes that we do every day in the office. So yeah, I think that's still looking at putting some more money in places that we can get some better interest rates. We are getting the 3% through the TSB account right now. And New York class, we've just moved some money. We're getting about 4.39 there, so which is significantly better than our regular savings.
Great. And is 3+1 able to give you any other avenues, or
They, actually, we have a meeting scheduled later to follow up on the last quarter. They can find us all kinds of, in treasuries and CDs if we want to move money into those. Although that New York class is really a competitive rate right now, so.
Yeah. Thanks. And then Mike's report, and then Brent.
Okay, so, again, thank you for, attending the capital improvement project presentation. This evening was the second time I did it live, but for anybody watching, it's available on our website. So you can get all the information about the proposal for a capital improvement project. And please remember that the vote, and again, I know the board knows it, but more for the viewing audience, the vote to allow us to borrow the money to fix our roofs and tracks and keep our facilities in good, healthy order is March 21st. Today, we discussed it a bit, but we had Oneida educator Diane Shenandoah come and talk a little bit about the culture that originated here in this part of the state. I want to say again how proud I was of our student body, both the elementary students and the high school students. They were engaged, they were respectful. The elementary students got up and danced when they were asked to dance. The high school students had really deep and thoughtful and just understanding in their questions. And again, we're respectful, and the back and forth was really quite nice. We didn't ask Ms. Shenandoah and her son Seb to come to speak directly to the change of mascot that we're going through right now. But when students asked, they responded. Students were supportive, and again, it was something that I found a real pleasure to be part of and to see. Again, I want to thank the board and the general public for allowing us to have the superintendent's conference day tomorrow. It's just a very valuable time. Mrs. Nichols kind of detailed what she and the rest of the administrative team have planned and with the teachers, but they're important days. I know they can be hard on families because you have to arrange daycare, but thank you. And then lastly, I just wanted to mention, I'll back up a little bit. Earlier in the month, I met with Holly Carlene, our athletic director, and some coaches, and Jim Wintermute to talk about the fields and the grounds. And while we have a great crew to maintain the fields in the condition we want them in for our students, you also need to have the right equipment. As some of our equipment gets older, we need to improve and upgrade when the opportunity is right. There's an opportunity now to get a side-by-side little yard truck off the state bid site. So the price is competitive because of the work that Chris has done. We have some of the money that came back from Homeland Security, so the funds are there. And I want to let the board know we plan on purchasing that and get your blessing. It's not something that we need to put to a vote or get approval for, but if you want to discuss that.
And they did approve the resolution.
Should-
and the consent
so that's where the
agenda to
money's-
move- Actually shift the money.
So the money's in the right place and we can purchase it.
Thank you. Any board comments?
I just want to thank you again for bringing Diane Shenandoah to the school. I think it was a great experience for the elementary and high school students, and I enjoyed very much watching and listening.
I was impressed by not only the presenters, but first of all, the high school faculty in maintaining, the kids were well behaved, but you could see some twitcher-ditchers, and the faculty kind of just floated and sat down beside them. There was no fuss, no attention drawn, except I was sitting in the back and they had my attention. But really impressed with how the faculty treated the students and handled them. And the other was the students probably didn't initiate, because I'm a big clapper, but how they showed their appreciation for the dancing and for the comments and the singing. They just, were very enthusiastic and whistled and what kids do, but it was that they need to learn how to do that, that it's appropriate when someone performs or does something outstanding that you recognize it, so thank you.
I just wanted to comment on sort of a thank you to the mascot committee, because that's been a very respectful, those meetings have been very respectful. And then a gigantic thank you to Holly, who's quarterbacking and navigating all of that process. I wish you were here to hear it, but we can pass it along to her for sure. Any other board comments? Okay. Jess?
Oh, go ahead, I got one more.
Yes.
If the board wants to give me their name, I can call in a reservation for this annual meeting at BOCES, because tomorrow's the day and you might forget. I'm sure you all want to be there, because you all recommended the honoree, whether you know it or not. It's Mike Blake. How can you go wrong? Well,
Thank you for doing that, Hope. Okay, Jess, any other comments?
I don't think so. Our next meeting, I guess I didn't give you the date, is March 28th. It's here in the library at 6:30 on March 28th.
Excellent.
in this library?
Yeah, here, yeah. We used the owl camera last time, and this really works great for people, parents who can't make it to the meeting. We had people join remotely and we could hear them and they could hear us this time, so that was really nice to have that technology.
Excellent. And then we do need an exec session to do the CSE, right? But public portion adjourned. Thank you all.
Yeah, then I need you to sign.
Yeah, the
form for
drive
the
thing.
Walker, yeah.